Here's my final thoughts. We've been here before, the impeachment of a president. Bill Clinton never admitted to any wrongdoing, but in the end, he did admit that it was his actions that put the country in this predicament. President Trump, on the other hand, says none of this is his fault.
It's a hoax, it's a witch hunt, and it's just a continuation. It's been going on now for almost 3 years, and it probably started before I even won the election.
I heard somebody express in a staff meeting today that they are so over this impeachment stuff. We've heard it all, and we know how this is going to end. Or do we? The House votes to impeach, the Senate acquits, but then the really important chapter begins to write itself. President Trump will have at minimum 1 year left in office, at most another 5 years if he's reelected. Does he double down on how he's handled the presidency thus far? You can't impeach a president twice, right? Then what powers would the House have to show their disapproval? Does President Trump continue to cater to his current core constituency, or does he move to become a more popular president? Don't sleep on this, folks. 2020 will be about President Donald Trump. He wouldn't have it any other way. Feel free to weigh in on my thoughts or anything else you've seen in this show tonight. Don't forget, use the hashtag the Q&A. I'm Bruce Johnson.